Ask for What You Want. This is a 5-minute Friday episode about the art of asking. One of the skills that I've cultivated over the last couple of years is being able to ask for what I want. And it's been so important in becoming a dad. I've always tried to treat asking like a fun game. Sometimes I ask for things like I asked for someone to throw me a birthday party for charity. And we had hundreds of people in Bali and we raised millions of Indonesian rupiah, which is actually a few $100s for a local charity. I asked for a free train trip across New Zealand. And throughout my life, I've just tried to ask for things just to see what people would give me. You know, a free coffee at Starbucks or whatever. There's this great book. It's called The Art of Asking by Amanda Palmer. And it really made me step up my asking game. And at the time that I read it, I wanted to use Patreon to have people support this podcast as patrons of the show. And that was an experiment that I ended up giving up on. I only asked a small number of people. I think we had at most about 10 people supporting the show. And it was, financially a very small amount. And I was embarrassed to be asking. And then we ran the Publishizer campaign for the book Superconductors. And I knew that to make that a success, I would have to ask something like 400 people for support. And we ended up getting over 250 people supporting the book, doing pre-orders, and that led to the book getting picked up by a traditional publisher. When I learned that I was going to become a father, it was not expected, and it seemed like a huge, daunting task. And the first thing that I had to do was to learn to ask for help from the other men, especially the other men in my life who had become fathers as well. And I was asking, my own father and friends of mine for advice because it was a huge unknown for me. And I realized that we have this tendency as guys to try to do everything on our own. We just work extra hard and try to make everything happen on our own. But it's so much better when you have people that you can ask for support. Now, recently, if you listen to the episode on our trip to Slovenia, we got to stay in a 5-star hotel that was in a castle. This is something that I'd always wanted to do, and we got to stay there for free. And I pitched the idea to feature them on Instagram and mention them in the podcast, and they said yes. We were giving them some marketing, getting the word out about their castle, and in exchange, it doesn't cost them very much for us to stay in their castle hotel because they had some vacant rooms. So it worked out really well for both of us. But the important thing is like, wow, okay, that's super easy. You just asked and you got free luxury hotel in a castle. But the important part is knowing what you want to ask for and then actually asking. Because when you ask for something, then it does this magic thing where it tells the universe that you're ready to have it. So when you ask for the sale, if you're selling something, in my case, coaching, for example, and I say, hey, do you want to do this? Then you're asking the universe, yes, I am willing to receive payment. I'm willing to receive whatever it is that you're asking for. So, okay, how can you use this? What can let you do better asks? So there's a couple barriers that I see. First is that people don't really know exactly where they're headed and they don't have an ask ready. So I would advise having some small little ask ready to go at all times. If you meet someone, they're like, how can I help you? Have something that you can ask for that you can help them. And perhaps it's an introduction or a recommendation. My ask is usually check out the podcast, subscribe if you like it, leave a review if you like it. It's very simple, easy for people to do and have them feel useful. The other side is to work up to bigger and bigger asks. And in the Native American culture, they had a practice of bravery. They would tell stories of courage and bravery, and it was part of the culture to talk about it and to practice it. So simply practicing bravery, asking for very small things at first, like a 10% discount at a restaurant or who knows what. There's a TED Talk by Jai Jiang, I believe, where he talks about 100 days of rejection. He asked for things for 100 days. The one that really was amusing to me was he asked for a burger refill at a restaurant. You know, a lot of people ask for drink refills. Well, he asked for a burger refill. I think they rejected him on that. But half the time he got a yes. So he tried it for 100 days, tried to get rejected, and half the time people said yes to him. So building up your tolerance for getting no's, because no and yes live in the same place. You have to be willing to ask to get a no or a yes. If you don't ask, then that's a no 100% of the time. One thing that I asked for recently was there was like a Cinderella type buggy that this woman was driving. And I said, hey, can I drive your electric powered Cinderella buggy? And she said no, but she did invite me to visit her in a castle. She had another castle. So you never know what will happen because of asking. So I challenge you to start asking for more things.